I hated the first two Avatar movies. Okay, that's not entirely true. I hated how successful they were. Every time I would look at the box office charts, I would genuinely get upset that these are the highest grossing movies of all time. It didn't make sense to me how they were making more money than Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, it shouldn't be possible. I was the person you knew who was screaming,
"These movies have no cultural relevance."
I hadn't seen the first one since it came out, so when I went to see Way of Water, I couldn't get myself to care about any of the characters at all, especially the kids. Around that time, I started seeing edits of them on TikTok, and I was just like, we don't even know these people. I remember thinking that instead of watching the movie, I should have just watched a 3-hour documentary about whales. And I held this mentality for a few years, but then something weird started to happen. As the Fire and Ash trailer started to come out, despite me being a hater, I found myself saying, wait, I kind of want to see this. Actually, you know what it was? It's not that. It was, I saw an edit of Varang going, "You're not gonna kill anyone." And Court just goes, "Drop him." It's like, that's so cool. So I went into it with an open mind. I saw it in 3D IMAX, and I have to admit, I was wrong. This movie completely changed my opinion on the Avatar franchise, and I need to talk about it. Obviously, the first thing people mention when they talk about these movies is the graphics, but I feel like Fire and Ash was especially good. This might sound weird considering The Way of Water is known to be like the best looking movie ever, and there are for sure like amazing shots in it, but there were a few times where I was like, this doesn't look right. I cannot say the same thing about Fire and Ash. Every single frame was perfect, and there were so many scenes where I was like, I genuinely cannot believe that this isn't real life. There's so many that I can mention, but the one that really got me was when Varang was dancing in front of the fire and sparks are flying off. Like, how did they make that? But it's not even just the graphics. Like, this whole movie is just a pure spectacle. James Cameron went out of his way to make this movie as cool as possible no matter what. Like, when the air traders arrived, he could have went with something simple, but nah, instead he does this long sequence showing us their ships and these cool new creatures that they have. It might not sound like a big deal, but not that many directors are doing it at this scale. The other thing I didn't remember about these movies is how good the action is. When the Mongwan attacked, I was locked in. Jake's flying around shooting a machine gun. Neytiri and Varang are fighting each other. And that one guy was just like, yo, I'll take one for the team. Just blows himself up. Like, that was one of the coolest things in the entire movie. But it wasn't just the visuals and the action that I liked. The story got a lot better after Neteyam's death. Jake went into soldier mode. Loak felt guilty about his brother's death and got depressed. And Neytiri was tweaking. Now, her grief makes sense, but why was she just like, all right, bet, let's kill Spider? Didn't you know him since he was a baby? Like, what? It's okay though, because it leads to an interesting conversation where Jake confronts her about her hatred of humans. He's like, yo, I'm human. Do you hate me too? And it's an interesting question and one that she doesn't really have an answer to because humans have caused her so much harm. They're actively destroying her world and they've killed members of her family. It isn't until the end of the movie when she finally accepts Spider as a member of her family that she lets go of this pure hatred of humans. Speaking of humans, let's talk about Quaritch. He got so much better in this movie. He went from just being this military NPC bot who's just like, I need to kill Jake Sully, to being something way more complex. I mean, yeah, he still wants to kill Jake, but he also wants a relationship with Spider, and he's gotten weirdly attached to Varang, and he's just getting pulled in all of these different directions. The other thing that surprised me about Quaritch was he was mad funny. I don't remember exactly what he says, but like when they're in the tent, Varang cuts him, and he's just like, dude, that's not very nice. And I was like, what? My favorite thing about Quaritch, though, is his relationship with Jake. I love it when the good guys and the bad guys have to team up together. I think it's so much fun. People were mad about how many times the story had one of the kids getting kidnapped, and I'm not gonna lie, it did happen a lot. Like every 15 minutes, a character was going,
I stole that shit.
But it didn't bother me because then Jake and Quaritch had to work together to save them. I feel like it's pretty predictable that in 4 and 5, Quaritch is gonna turn into a good guy, but I'm still excited to see it. The one character that I cannot see becoming a good guy is Varang, but that is okay because she is so cool. Honestly, she deserved way more screen time than she was given, but even still, whenever she showed up, it was peak. In a lot of ways, she was the heart of this movie. I thought her reasoning for being evil was so interesting. She feels betrayed by Eywa. I mean, when you think about it, Eywa is shown to be this all-powerful being who has full control of Pandora, and yet she doesn't help the Mongwan when their home's destroyed. It makes you think, is Eywa not as strong as we thought and some things are out of her control? Or did she choose to neglect the Mongwan and let their homes be destroyed? Either way, justified or not, Varang is still the coolest character in this movie. Now think about it. People were making edits of the way she walks. Do you know how cool you have to be to have that happen? Even just the way she talked was sick. Bro, she said, your goddess has no dominion here. I can't even do it half as good as she did. Like, that was insane. Speaking of Eywa, we gotta talk about Kiri. I was working on the thumbnail for this video before I started recording, and as of right now, it has Kiri on one side and Varang on the other, and under Kiri's side, it's gonna say something negative like hated or something like that. If I end up using that thumbnail, I just want to be clear about something. I was talking about the Avatar franchise as a whole and not just Kiri. Like, she's my favorite character so far. She's the GOAT. She's basically the Anakin Skywalker of this universe, and I just want to know more about her. Like, I really want to know how she has these powers, even though she comes from an avatar and not a natural Na'vi. It's an interesting choice though, because a lot of the other Na'vi see her as an outsider because of that. And you know, people might call her a freak, but they'll never say that she's not clutch. When Spider was running out of air and couldn't breathe, who saved him? Kiri. That scene was sick. When everyone was gonna get killed by the humans, who sent the squids to save them? Kiri. She could have died doing that. The one thing I'll say about Kiri is Sigourney Weaver is probably too old to play her. I know it's like mocap or whatever, but I don't know. I feel like sometimes you can just feel it. Like even when she's just walking, like you can kind of tell, you know? I think Kiri's gonna play a much bigger role in the next two movies because she's gonna get hunted by the humans for what she did to Spider, and she's also gonna get hunted by the Mangwan for being the physical embodiment of Awa. The other thing we gotta talk about with Kiri is her relationship with Spider. I don't know where I stand on it right now. To be honest, I don't hate it, but the people that do raise some, let's just call them reasonable complaints. Number one, Sigourney Weaver is a lot older than the actor who plays Spider. Number two, I don't fully agree with this, but they are kind of like siblings. And number three, I don't know why people aren't mentioning this as much, but they are not even the same species. I mean, I guess technically he has that thing now, but like I don't even want to ask about the logistics of that. I know he has some cringe lines, but I actually kind of like Spider. People hate his acting, but like think about it. He's the only one of these guys not in a suit, and he has to like act with nothing around him. I mean, I guess technically everyone does, but I don't know. I'm cutting him some slack. My only big complaint about this movie is just how similar the ending is to the last two. Like it's basically just a mixture of the two of them. Jake becomes Taruk Makto again. There's more fights in the ocean, and the kids end up getting kidnapped on a boat. Like it's the exact same thing. Even still though, there were a lot of things that I really liked about the ending. I really liked the Tolkun, and now that I think about it, like the squids that Kiri summoned, they would be so scary if you were on the human side, but they were really cool. There's one moment in the ending though that I really want to talk about. It was really short, but it like made my whole experience at the movies like worth it. Earlier in the movie, during one of the more chill times, there was a scene where like all of the kids are like playing on like a Tolkun's arm, and he's swimming and doing jumps with them. And I kind of got like reverted back to how I was thinking at the end of The Way of Water, where I was like, what are we doing? Like, this is so pointless. But it wasn't pointless. During the final battle, it would be easy for you to miss it, but there was this one clip of, I think it was Loak. He was on a Tolkun's arm doing a 360 shooting guns off it. I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I really appreciated that callback and just that attention to detail to make sure, like, how would Loak know how to do a 360 no-scope off a Tolkun? There was also that final fight between Jake and Quaritch on the rocks with that low gravity, which I thought was so fun and creative. And I find it funny because it kind of ended with the both of them just being like, why are we fighting right now? Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we even beefing in the first place? I definitely have some slight critiques of the movie. Like, it definitely could have been shorter a bit. I think the second half was a lot weaker than the first half. And overall, the story is still a bit simple. But as a blockbuster, as a spectacle, as just a great time at the movies, it just works. I won't be complaining about the success of these movies anymore because I get it now. I've been thinking about this movie constantly, and I know this video is going to come out way after the movie came out, but I was working on other videos, and my excuse for this is that this video will prove that the Avatar franchise is culturally relevant. Going forward, I am locked in with the Avatar franchise, and I'm excited to see where they go next.